Hey, welcome back to the Lightspeed Lawn Care Marketing Podcast. I am your host, Cody Owen, as always, sitting down with my co-host, Robert Chapa, and we are going to be talking about the most profitable emails that you can send out in your lawn care and landscaping business. Can I talk to you a little bit about why you should care about sending email, how it is one of the most valuable marketing channels you have, and also one of the cheapest ones to use. So, Robert, let's jump in here and convince some guys to send some email.
Oh yeah, man, this is bread and butter right here, Cody. So when we're talking about having a good email, let's touch on a couple different aspects of making a good email campaign. Number one, multiple touches. We've touched on this a lot of times, multiple times, that you cannot just reach out one time. I mean, you can, but you don't want to just reach out one time because, well, people are getting bombarded by emails every day. Who knows how many emails people get every day? Assume that they're not going to see you. And so you need to plan out, okay, depending on my strategy, which we're going to talk about a couple different strategies to use, you're always going to send out more than one email. And in those emails, you want to personalize them. We're having branding. We want to compel them, persuade them. This is marketing, and possibly a strong offer at the end, depending which strategy we're using.
Yeah, if we jump back to talking about the multiple touches for a second, what you can do is look at your open rate kind of overall. If you're using MailChimp or something like that, it'll show you like an overall percentage for your list that'll show you that like 20% or 40% of your emails get opened. And that's going to give you an idea, like what Robert was saying about like people are getting bombarded by emails. They're not going to see every single one that you send. That's going to give you an idea of like, if I send 10 emails, they're only going to see 4 of them. So keep that in mind as you're worried about like, oh, I'm going to be annoying if I send this many emails or whatever. They're only going to see whatever that percentage is. That's how many they're going to see. Some people are going to be weird outliers who open every single email in their inbox. Let's not worry about that person until they complain. But yeah, so a good email campaign is going to make sure you're getting as many touches as you can. Probably, kind of the minimum that we think about when we're putting together a campaign is like 5 emails for something. I think that a lot of times you can bulk up a campaign and make it a little healthier by having some long tail emails that push you out to 8 to 10. And then you're going to personalize it a little bit. That's going to be, you can filter and tag your list based on what services people have. And so then you're only contacting them about services they don't have, maybe for a campaign. You want to make sure that you've got your branding in there, that it sounds like you. If you're hiring someone to write it, you want to make sure that they know how to sound like your business. And then get that compelling language in there. Remember to sell benefits rather than features. So if you're selling weed and fert, it's not just that we, put out this chemical. It's we make your lawn the greenest it's ever been. We make your lawn the healthiest it's ever been. Lean on what they get out of it, the feeling they get out of it, versus just the bare facts of what you do. And then, yeah, the last thing here, the strong offer, make sure there's an incentive to act now. Light a fire under them that gets them to make a decision in the next few days versus, question mark.
I want to touch upon the compelling language, Cody, because you made a really good point of you don't want to break down what you're doing, because I thought about this the other day. Like, okay, let's say you're writing a fertilization and weed campaign, and you're going down the steps of what you're doing. You're almost making it seem like you could do this as well. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're going to do this. Yeah. You could do this too. But so I just wanted to touch on that. All right, Cody. So one of the email strategies I want to talk about and get into is, okay, making an upsell campaign. But obviously with this upsell campaign in lawn care, you don't have all season to upsell. If we're cutting lawns or we're doing fertilization, we need them to sign up now, especially with like fertilization, where you have maybe a 6 or 8 step process where they need to start in April or March. And you're going to have an urgent offer there. And so would you want to get into that more, Cody, about what that's going to look like?
Yeah. So because most of the upsells in our industry are time sensitive, we want to make sure that we're letting the customer know that this is time sensitive by having a deadline, right? So even if you don't have a discount offer or whatever to tie to your upsell campaign, maybe you're just letting people know about regular pricing for it. You want to make sure that they know that, hey, there's a deadline to accept this that gets them to act a little more quickly. The worst thing you could have happen is somebody delays and delays signing up for like weed and fert treatments, and then it's too late to get started for whatever reason, or you've missed the window for aeration, whatever it is. So you don't want to, they don't know the window for these services, right? That's why they hire you. You're the expert. And so we need to make sure that they know that there is some urgency here. There is a reason to act. And that final email that you send should let them know, like, hey, this is your last chance to sign up for that. That's going to really move the needle if you give people a reason to act right now. So that's your upsell campaign. And what I would do, and we've talked about this a million times, is map out your services for the year so that you know all of your upsells and when you need to sell them, right? So if you've mapped that out, then you can go ahead and know, like, a few weeks in advance, hey, I got to write these emails. I got to get them sent out, as the service needs to be sold. And then our next email campaign here is that we want to win back lost clients. And I talk about this a little more in our YouTube video, but basically this is just a reminder to tap the resources that you already have. And that includes clients who left you for whatever reason. Maybe they went with someone cheaper this year and now it's time to touch base with them and ask how it's going. Maybe it's not going very well. You want to think about lost quotes as well. People who thought about getting a quote and didn't sign up. You kind of do this campaign, maybe quarterly or every 6 months, where you touch base with all of these people, send them a few emails, kind of assume they're interested in signing up again, ask them to sign up again. I would do this again. This is a short campaign, 2 to 5 emails. And then on the last one, let them know, like, hey, we won't reach out again in the future, and go ahead and clean them out of the list at that point. And that's something that not a lot of lawn care companies are familiar with, I think, is like the idea of list hygiene and cleaning uninterested people out of your list. You want your percentage, your open rate to be high. That is going to tell email providers that your audience is engaged with you. And if that number's drooping really, really low, it looks unhealthy. It makes email providers start to wonder if, like, your stuff is relevant. Should it be in the inbox? Should it be in the promos tab? Should it be, God forbid, moved to the spam folder? I would run this campaign every year, every 6 months. And then anyone who doesn't act on it, let's go ahead and filter them out of the list so that they're not hurting you.
That's a vital point, Cody. And yeah, like you said, a lot of people, I think just in every industry don't think about that because you're like, oh, who cares? People are always going to unsubscribe from your list, but you can really minimize that by, let's say you have a list of 1,200 emails. Okay, maybe you send an email and 2 people unsubscribe. Like, that's pretty average. But if you're just like Cody mentioned, if you're bombarding these people who you've tried to win them back and they haven't responded, they're going to start unsubbing. They can spam you, like mark you as spam. And again, your rate of your emails going through are going to be super, super low. And it's hard to kind of build that back.
Yeah, we want to avoid getting marked as spam as much as possible because that's going to really damage the deliverability of your emails. Okay, we've got one more campaign to talk about here. This one might take a little bit longer. This is your new lead nurture campaign. So this is sending emails once someone has requested a quote, but they haven't acted on it. That is just going to slowly tell them about your business, why you exist, give some useful information about landscaping and lawn care in your area. This is very like, you've got a good sauce going and now it needs to simmer, right? So they've requested the quote, they're thinking about it, whatever it is. We've got some follow-up built in about that, but this is just, hey, this is who we are. You have a quote from us. You should sign up. Hey, you requested a quote from us because we're reliable. We're X, we're Y. You should sign up. here's the benefits of working with us. We're all of these things. We do all of these things. These are the benefits of working with us. Remember, benefits over features. You should sign up. And then, just build that out so that it's always culminating. Each email culminates in, don't forget about your quote. You should sign up. So make sure that you're always coming back around to the reason you're sending the email, which is trying to get them to take action. But this is, you want this setup to be automatic because everybody has the best intentions of doing all the follow-up they can for potential customers. But then as things start to get hectic, people start to fall through the cracks. I have done this in my own business where I have great intentions to follow up with every single lead. And then, I start to miss making phone calls. I start to, I've sent 3 emails to this person. I intend to send 7 and I forget to go back in my inbox and send the next ones. So we have automated all of this. If you want to see what our campaign looks like, you can go to our website, fill out the contact form, and you can see the 20 or so emails that you'll get from us over the course of a few weeks and see what that campaign looks like. I've said this before on the podcast. You're more than welcome to steal any of the copy in there and repurpose it for the lawn care industry. Might take a little bit of work because we're doing 2 different things, but you're more than welcome to do that if you want to see what that campaign looks like and pull some copy from it. Put it in your swipe file.
Like you said, Cody, new lead nurture campaign. You may think when you're starting your business that you can handle all that, but I guarantee you by the time you even get 20 clients, it's too much to be sending emails out yourself. So right away, you should just build that out. And it's a cliche to say this, but you do make money while you sleep if you build that out.
Yeah. Yeah. When you automate those emails, they're going to bring in money on their own. Okay, so let's talk about how to make sending email. Sorry, the sun is like coming right in my face. If you're watching the video, you're enjoying the sunrise podcast that Robert and I are doing. Okay, so how to make sending email as easy as possible. 1, don't overthink it. This is, a few short sentences will work. I do this where it, says like sent from my iPhone at the bottom. You want it to look super personal. So consider doing a little bit of that makes you look a little smaller, a little scrappier, makes people feel like they're a part of what you're doing.
To touch on personalizing those emails, Cody, I mean, we do like you do want to brand your emails, but sometimes it helps to throw a couple in there that are not branded, like they don't have your logo on top, but they still know at the bottom of the sign off is still your name, it's still the business, and that just adds more personalization that like, oh, they just sent it really quick,
Yeah, for sure. So I would set aside 10 minutes to work on each email. Remember, these are really simple ideas that you're getting across. There's not a reason to write multiple paragraphs in your emails usually. So a few short sentences, give yourself 10 minutes to work on it. And if you're not happy with it, set aside another 10 minutes later and come back to it. You can always find great templates for emails online. You can steal stuff from any of our emails that you get in your inbox. Feel free to take whatever you need from there. We've got some on our blog, some like samples of lawn care emails that you can swipe. So those will be there's a link in the description wherever you're listening to the podcast. If you're watching it, there's a link over to our blog. And just get out there and see what works. And if it does, great. You can use it forever. If not, improve it and send it a few months later. The next time you've got a similar campaign going, test out something new. This is just a process of finding what works. And the great thing about email is that, things change with how things are delivered. We might get some new technology around what we can show up in an inbox with, but generally decent copy is decent copy, and it's going to be a workhorse for years to come. So that investment that you make of 10, 20 minutes working on this email is going to pay dividends for a long, long time.
I think you broke it down really well, Cody. I think
Thanks, man.
Go to the blog and it's plug and play on our blog. You can just take those email templates and you're ready to go. So,
yeah. Well, yeah. So I think the big takeaway from today is to go take some action on this, right? Don't just listen to the podcast and go, yeah, email. Go ahead and write a campaign for your next upsell. Figure out what your next thing you need to be selling is, and go ahead and write that campaign to reach out to your clients. Do a simple upsell campaign and see how it goes. And I think Robert can tell you, as he's become our email expert over here. Once you get the high of selling a bunch of stuff via free emails that you send out, you will be very invested in continuing to send emails out.
Yeah, it's like the equivalent of, some people like getting a bunch of likes on Instagram or Facebook. This is like way better than that because you make money.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. All right, guys, if you are listening in a podcast app, please leave us a rating and a review. It helps other people find out about the show. If you have a friend in the industry that you think would benefit from listening to the show, please send it over to them. And if you are on YouTube, leave us a like. Make sure you're subscribed. Maybe click the bell for notifications so you find out about our videos. We are not always sending you stuff from the Sunrise Podcast Studio, but today we've got some sun coming in. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
And grow your business at Lightspeed.